The International Space Station has been rightly described as one of humanity's best inventions. However, that doesn't prevent the massive structure from being the subject of controversies. One of them is that it's often visited by unidentified flying objects. Why would UFOs visit the ISS? Is something ominous about to happen? And why the cover-up by the authorities? Join us as we deep dive into how NASA has just detected something massive that docked on the International Space Station. The International Space Station is a massive spacecraft that orbits the Earth. It serves as a residence for astronaut and cosmonaut crews. The space station also serves as a one-of-a-kind science laboratory. Several nations collaborated to build and operate the space station. The space station contains components assembled in space by astronauts. It orbits the Earth at an altitude of about 250 miles. It has a top speed of 17,500 miles per hour, allowing it to orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. NASA is learning more about living and working in space by using the space station. These lessons will allow humans to travel further into space than ever before. The space station has the volume of 2 Boeing 747 jetliners or a 5-bedroom house. It can accommodate a crew of 6 people plus visitors. The space station would weigh nearly 1 million pounds on Earth. The station covers the area of a football field, including the end zones, as measured from the edges of its solar arrays. Laboratory modules from the United States, Russia, Japan, and Europe are included. The space station has many other components beside the laboratories where astronauts conduct scientific research. The first Russian modules included the basic systems required to run the space station. They also provided crew members with living quarters. Nodes are modules that connect various parts of the station. These solar arrays extend out from the space station's sides. These arrays collect solar energy and use it to generate electricity. A long truss connects the arrays to the station, and radiators on the truss regulate the temperature of the space station. Outside the space station are robotic arms that assisted in the construction of the space station. These arms can also move astronauts when they go on spacewalks outside or conduct scientific experiments. Spacewalks are possible via airlocks that open to the outside, and other spacecraft can connect to the station via docking ports. Ports are where new crews and visitors arrive. And it's the ports that have become the center of attention recently because of strange things happening at the ISS. The ports have welcomed something much more mysterious than new crews and human visitors. However, there is another set of components that attract people to the ISS because of the capabilities they give the space station: the cameras. The ISS has 4 cameras that allow enthusiasts to follow happenings around the space station. As part of the CR3 mission in April 2014, SpaceX launched 4 high-definition video cameras dubbed HDV, or High-Definition Earth Viewing Cameras, to the International Space Station. These cameras were mounted inside a protective box on the Columbus Lab on the ISS, the European Space Agency's large chrome module that was added to the space station in 2008. The 4 cameras are known collectively as the Columbus Eye. The University of Bonn in Germany maintains a live streaming website. The Columbus Eye program was created in collaboration with the German Space Agency. One video camera is pointed forward, 2 are pointed backward, the wake, and 1 is pointed downward, the nadir. They are linked to the space station's computer via an Ethernet cable and beamed down to Earth. Interestingly, the cameras serve multiple purposes. Apart from beaming footage to Earthlings, NASA uses them to monitor the rate of image degradation caused by cosmic radiation, as well as the toughness of the camera housing when exposed to those space rays. The cameras are protected by a pressurized and temperature-controlled box, and how they perform may help NASA engineers decide which cameras are the best types to use on future missions. However, the space agency has been accused of deliberately shutting off these cameras during live streaming when they transmit what it doesn't want you to see. Because of its position and capacity as a space agency, NASA is in a unique position to sight strange objects that are not of Earth's origin. However, the agency has been thought to filter what it releases to the general public. Take, for example, a recent skirmish that left UFO enthusiasts suspecting manipulation by NASA. During a live broadcast, a video clip shows an object entering the Earth's atmosphere before NASA's live feed from the International Space Station abruptly cuts out. The bright object is seen descending toward Earth in the video, which UFO hunter StreetCap1 posted on YouTube. Then the feed magically stops. But this attempt really doesn't stop the flow of information on one of the most controversial subjects ever, no matter what NASA hopes to achieve. In fact, it seems to fuel more interest in UFOs as people want to know what authorities might be trying to hide from them. For instance, a UFO hunter claims to have spotted 10 UFOs during NASA's live stream from the ISS. The sightings were made by a man who goes by the name of Jeff while watching NASA's live feed. He observed 10 unknown objects hovering around the ISS. Jeff posted a screenshot of the visual at the time the ISS was flying over the South Atlantic. Jeff shared the screenshot with a YouTuber named Michael, who describes himself as a full-time Earth watchman. That is, a person who tracks changes that occur on and near Earth in order to find hidden explanations for various phenomena. The screenshots have gone viral since then, racking up hundreds of thousands of views. This incident is reminiscent of the legendary Mantle incident that for a long time shaped the UFO discussion. It also bore all the hallmarks of an official cover-up. Back then, a cover-up was easier to do as the flow of information was way easier to curtail then. Thomas F. Mantle was an Air Force captain with lots of experience piloting aircraft. At the time of the incident, Mantle had racked up 2,867 hours of flying, so he was no rookie flyer by any means. The story unfolded in 1948. Calls about a UFO had been coming into Godman Air Force Base in Kentucky from nearby Fort Knox. Sergeant Quinton Blackwell, the Godman Control Tower's chief operator, had just discovered the object. He later recalled that it looked like an ice cream cone topped with red. The tower crew summoned Captain Gary Carter, the operations officer, and pointed out the object. Carter then called the commanding officer, Colonel Guy Hicks. 4 F-51D fighter jets approached Godman on their way from Marietta AFB to Standerford AFB. The Godman Tower requested the flight, led by Captain Mantle, to investigate the object. Mantle agreed and began to climb. He was accompanied by 2 other Mustangs. The 4th, running out of fuel, continued on to Standerford. Mantle reported at 14,000 feet, "The object is directly ahead of me and above me now, moving at about half my speed." 2 of the Mustangs abandoned the chase because their oxygen tanks were running low. Mantle, on the other hand, persisted. And then, about an hour later, some of the tower crew heard Mantle say, "It appears to be a metallic object or possible sun reflections from a metallic object, and it's enormous in size. I'm still climbing. The object is above and ahead of me, moving at my or faster speed. I'm attempting to close for a better look." Further messages from the pilot were garbled and contact was lost shortly thereafter. The Godman Tower 2 lost sight of the UFO. That was the last time they heard from Mantle. Whatever additional information he could have supplied about the UFO is now lost forever. There have been several attempts to explain away the Mantle incident. For instance, there have been claims that the object Mantle saw was the planet Venus. While Venus is frequently misidentified as a UFO, it appears unlikely in this case. Another theory suggested that the object was a weather balloon. However, given Mantle's description, a typical weather balloon appears to be far too small. Besides, Mantle was too experienced not to know when he was looking at a planet or a weather balloon. Another possibility was that the object was a sundog, a kind of optical illusion. Sundogs, also known as parahelions, is caused by sunlight being reflected off ice crystals high in the sky. They can take the form of a large bright object. This theory holds no water, however, because the object was seen from several different directions, and a sundog is dependent on the viewer, the ice, and the sun being in specific positions relative to one another. Nevertheless, the attention the Mantle incident caused was enough to get the authorities involved, and soon thereafter, Project Blue Book was born with the aim of convincing the public that flying saucers could be explained. After numerous UFO sightings during the Cold War era, the Air Force established Project Blue Book in 1952 to explain away or debunk as many reports as possible. It was supposed to mitigate potential panic and shield the public from a genuine national security problem, an apparently technological phenomenon that was beyond human control and was not Russian but represented an unfathomable potential threat. Behind the scenes, however, authorities faced a sobering reality. Well-documented UFO encounters involved multiple trained observers, radar data, photographs, ground marks, and physical effects on airplanes. This made it difficult to simply dismiss UFOs as pseudo-science or trivial. And what was the outcome of Project Blue Book? The Air Force Director of Intelligence, Major General John Samford, announced that between 1,000 and 2,000 reports had been analyzed, with the majority of them explained. However, he admitted a certain percentage have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. We are now attempting to resolve this group of observations. So even if the result was not conclusive, it did achieve something. For instance, astronomer Alan Hynek, a UFO skeptic, became a believer. He concluded that they were a genuine phenomenon in desperate need of scientific investigation, with hundreds of cases in the Blue Book files still unsolved. He also noted that many of the closed cases were resolved with absurd, often infuriating explanations, sometimes ironically provided by Hynek himself. It seems, however, that we are getting closer to knowing the real truth about UFOs from official sources. Apparently, the authorities are not done yet with UFO investigations. NASA, yes, the same old NASA, has convened a first-of-its-kind panel to investigate what the government chooses to refer to as unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, bringing together experts from physics to astrobiology. The 16-member panel will conduct its investigation solely on unclassified sightings and other information gathered from civilian government and commercial sectors. The panel will spend 9 months developing its own strategy for organizing and studying sightings before recommending a roadmap of potential UAP data analysis by the agency going forward. Its first report is scheduled to be released in mid-2023. But NASA is not the only governmental organization investigating UFOs or UAPs. NASA's investigation is distinct from a recently formalized Pentagon-based investigation into UAPs reported by military aviators and analyzed by US defense and intelligence officials. Let's hear what you think about UFOs in the comments section below.